Hey, people. Prey 2017 review, Recycling Edition, trademark by SsethTzeentach.
Hey, people. Seth here. What's the most painful human experience? Many would say childbirth, but that only produces 48% of the pain of being an immersive sim fan. This is a cursed genre. Anyone who attempts it dies. Looking Glass, dead. Troika, dead. Ion Storm, acquired. And Arcane is currently decomposing in a corporate merger. But before that, they put out a masterpiece. I know, this was news to me too, so why have I never heard of it?
Peggy 18.
Because of a name, that is Prey 2017, not to be confused with Prey 2006, or Prey 2014 the TV show, or Prey 2022 the movie. The optimal title is right in front of us. It's a successor to System Shock that's about to mind, Psychoshock, but was renamed by Bethesda Softworks, a ZeniMax corporation, because they had the IP sitting there for 10 years and didn't know what else to do with it. This game has no discoverability or brand identity, at least with some series. If you told me I was going to be playing a stealth game where the objective is to blend in with a crowd as the only black man in Japan, I would tell you, based on the stock price, I kind of expected that. Similarly, if you told me a Jewish man was about to shill VPNs for his personal gain, I also expected that. Would you let a stranger watch your children? Would you share intimate details of your life with a trash collector? Should you give your local tweaker your social security number? This is more than a hypothetical. It's how I've lived my life for the past 20 years. But now, my children are missing, my bank account is frozen, and my identity has been stolen. I've tried calling, but they insist they're not missing. They have a new dad, and he's more me than I'll ever be. I've since learned from my mistakes, and I keep my new, better children safe with ExpressVPN. Every time you connect to an unencrypted network, be it at a cafe, the airport, or even your hotel room, your online data is not secure. Anyone with a little know-how can see everything you're doing and steal your personal data. Order a pizza to your room, there goes your credit card number. Tell your boss your flight got delayed, there goes your email. Need to take an important Zoom call while you're out and about, there goes your voice and likeness. Now, someone is using their new deepfake to convince grandma to send $5,000 for bail money right now. And if they don't use it, they can just sell it to somebody who will. But with
Dude, I had this. I had a family member. They ended up calling my parents, and they're just like, is Kip in some kind of international like prison where I'm supposed to send like $5,000 to bail him out? they were telling me this as I was standing right there. And I'm just like, I don't think I'm missing. I don't think I have any bail money unless something really happened between the hours of 3 a.m. and 10 p.m. or 3 a.m. and 10 a.m. Unless something happened there that I don't know about.
ExpressVPN running in the background, you're protected, thanks to the fact that all of your internet traffic is routed through a secure encrypted tunnel. So secure, in fact, the sun will go out before any supercomputer can crack it. And all it takes is one click. ExpressVPN works on all your devices, so you can stay secure no matter what you're doing. Personally, I get the most use out of it by posting anonymously while pretending to be from another country. French Canadians deserve their reputation, but I like to think, in some small way, I contributed. And this would not be possible without ExpressVPN. Find out how you can get 4 months free by scanning the QR code on screen, clicking the link in the description box below, or by going to expressvpn.com/Seth. It's hard to recommend something.
I would actually give that a 10. I like the QR code at the end. The transition into it was seamless, and it was a very Seth ad. 100% into it. I would give it a 10 out of 10.
Without explanation. This game is hard to explain without spoilers. And there will be spoilers in about now.
Oh.
Who am I? Who are they? What did they do to me?
What's happening?
They took your foreskin.
Oh no!
Now take it back. What is Prey? I don't know. What do you do in Prey? I turn myself into a roll of toilet paper and hide inside the women's bathroom. Because I finished a side quest that puts psychoactive DMT into the drinking water, I can reliably do this for the next few hours. In all seriousness, it's a game of Gmod prop hunt, where you get jump scared by filing cabinets. The difference is, it's a AAA title that doesn't assume the player to be retarded. Here's how they introduce their first weapon. What does it do?
Look, that's a pretty big ask, all I'm gonna say. So I've seen some players in games like Helldivers, what else? Space Marine 2. I have to question how people have the actual like brain power to put their shirt on in the morning. I'm surprised they'd even wear shirts. I've seen some pretty pretty rough individuals. That's a hard ask.
Well, I don't know, but it probably freezes enemies and sticks to walls. Oh look, a corpse I can loot. Good thing there's a conveniently ramp-shaped trail of glue I can climb up. Maybe I can use this weapon to climb on other things in the future. Oh, the path upstairs is locked. Good thing I have this glue cannon. Was I stopped in my tracks to explain how this works? No. Was there an NPC in my ear going, Morgan, squirt your glue to climb upstairs? No. Did I have to demonstrate my understanding of a weapon and its applications in order to proceed? No. The entire game is like this. It presents a number of obstacles, gives you tools to conquer them, then stands back and lets you figure it out yourself. Ultimately, this isn't...
Sounds like Portal in a lot of ways, right? Here's your Portal gun. Blue, orange. Guys, figure it out. I'm kind of for this. I kind of miss this era of gaming. As somebody who, I mean, I said I played through Resident Evil 3 Remake. It's over on the VOD channel if you're curious on what I thought of it. Like, I was really upset when the game handheld me to the point that, like, losing against Nemesis on the roof with the flamethrower, it, like, kept trying to say, do you want to go down in difficulty? Stop holding my hand. Let me fail. Let me enjoy the game. Like, I kind of miss this era. Here's the thing. Gratz, figure it out. I kind of miss it. I think it can be done correctly and incorrectly, though. Like Monster Hunter Wilds, I was having a time with that recently, with the trap mission once you start getting into high rank, because the game didn't explicitly tell you. As I understand it, it intuits that you're supposed to have the information on hand from prior installments. I actually got really frustrated during that. I didn't have a good time with that one, specifically because the trank bomb was bound to another item like the trap, and it wasn't bound to the slingshot, which I'm like, you'd have to take two slow tempo item uses rather than trap slingshot. Interesting, but okay. I think that it can be done right. I think that it can be done wrong. But I mean, ultimately, yeah, I like games that allow the player to just do things.
Complicated, but I have to give praise, because video games are a lowbrow field designed for knuckle draggers. After a solar flare knocks us back to the Bronze Age, they will return to their rightful place, plowing the crops. And I will be a low-ranking overseer until I succumb to typhoid, only to be replaced by a taskmaster twice as cruel. I have no illusions that the peasants will forget me, but in their mind, they will hold the vague idea that things used to be better. But I digress. You are trapped on a space station full of Redditors who say, oh my science, when they see Darwin claws evolving down the chimney, the heaviest weapon is a shotgun, and aliens are eating everyone on board. The glue gun being the first weapon is a message. This isn't a game about blasting everything in sight. Well, actually it is, but first I hot glue them like a Toho figurine before bashing them with a blunt object. It's a game about using your brain, and everyone else's brains too, by injecting them directly through your eye socket. This is what the station is designed to produce, outside the jurisdiction of any pesky laws. The neuromod. The brain is the ultimate pattern recognition device. If it sees a pattern, it forms a new pattern of neurons. Thus, it is a physical reflection of your memories, experiences, and skills, represented by trillions of connections between billions of neurons. With neuromods, we can copy the physical brain structures responsible for individual skills and paste them directly into the brains of others. I can map out Epstein's brain, inject it, and be very confused as I recognize every Mossad agent on a first-name basis. Turns out, you can also give people abilities that aren't on the human skill tree, like telekinesis, or fireballs, or the ability to morph your body to mimic any small object. How is this possible? In short, Kennedy survived his assassination, and now, because of a misplaced bullet, we're farming aliens from a Soviet satellite. Aliens with magic powers that eat and digest consciousness itself. What could possibly go wrong? Neuromods are this game's upgrade system. You find, craft, and spend them to unlock new abilities of human or exotic origin. The game discourages you from taking too many alien abilities by warning you that past a certain threshold, the station's defenses will identify you as a foreign body and shoot on sight. This would...
So I kind of like this, actually. I've never played Prey. Full disclosure, never played. So this is actually super fascinating to actually watch someone go through this and explain it. I actually really like that, though. I like consequences for actions. I think it's super cool. Wasn't it Deus Ex? It was one of the Deus Ex games. You could get like a free upgrade early in the game, but if you did, it made a boss fight an absolute pain later. Never played it. I've heard of the interaction, though. I like that. Yeah, the funny man is going to give you just a free upgrade. Yeah, there's consequences for that down the line. Yeah, you want to turn yourself into effectively an alien, right? Okay, or xenomorph, whatever. Okay, cool. Yeah, the station's going to, its defenses are going to start locking onto you, right? I think that that's super cool. It's like when I look at like Iron Pineapple's Kingsfield videos, right? And, you know, you can sell like mandatory keys, mandatory items. Like you can sell things that actually can lock your progress. Like, yeah, that's super cool. Cause like, should you do it? Probably not. Can you do it? The game allows you to do it. I think that is such a bygone era of gaming, and I kind of miss it. Because much like Resident Evil 3 Remake, it just feels like just hallway simulator in certain aspects and hand holding you through an amusement park. And I'm not for that game design. Sure, it's cool, it's flashy, but like, I feel we've lost a lot in terms of the spirit of gaming.
Be a reasonable drawback if a station had any defenses left. You're making you choose between pyrokinesis and a turret that struggles with the smallest enemy. Neuromods offer a variety of new solutions to different problems. For example, there are a few ways around this, but the most obvious is to use a grounding resistor. With enough repair skill, you could fix the one right there. Or you could go through the enemies downstairs to get to the storage closet, which can be hacked to find a replacement. I, however, did none of these things. I stood in a box, turned into a binder, and slid through a gap in the window. This is a valid solution to most of life's problems. I'm about to be mugged. I turn into an empty bottle and roll down a storm drain. My wife is about to be mugged. I turn into an empty bottle and roll down a storm drain. My wife is asking for a divorce. I turn into a set of stairs and push her down. With these abilities, gameplay becomes a question of using what you have to tackle the problems in front of you. If you need to reach something high up, you can use the jump upgrade, make a gravity well, or mimic an operator and fly there directly. And if nothing else works, you can always rely on the glue gun to build yourself a staircase. However, enemies respawn. Ammo does not. So you need to make careful use of resources. Thankfully, we have another great mechanic to help us with that: recycling. Any item can be dropped into the recycler and broken down into its constituent matter. This can be fed into a fabricator to 3D print any schematic you possess. This solves a major issue with survival games. When you have limited resources and tough enemies, you're encouraged to make every bullet count. But with a
I mean, that's honestly why Dead Space Remake, doing it on the hardest difficulty, was impossible. Dead Space Remake, I can't do it. Like, I did my Dead Space 2 run, I could probably do Dead Space 1 OG. Dead Space Remake, for some reason, just they feel way too tanky. And I mean, there's people who are just like, yeah, no, why can't you do this, Fivehead? Just do this. And I know that you can save scum because you're one save file, but you can save multiple times. Like, I'm not good at that game. I love Dead Space as a franchise. I'm not good at Dead Space Remake by any means. So it's depressing that once again I have to watch Dead Space die unironically. Yeah, no, this is, if I could craft ammo, or have a consistent way of, like, farming stuff. I feel that, you have the ability to survival horror, but I think if you know what you're doing, you know how to play, you're smart enough, or can find out certain systems, having something like this, I think, allows that modularity. Some people are going to want to do, like, it's like Dark Souls, right? Some people are going to want to soul level 1 Broken Sword Dark Eater Midir. I don't. I'm going to go down with my Yorm's Great Machete and attempt to fight him. Sure, I might get him at some point, but like, there's multiple players, and then someone's going to have the prerogative to just max level in Dark Souls 3. Yeah, so they're going in as like with 99 in every stat, trying to gank Midir, and then you're going to have someone who's just like, nah, I'm just going to use pyromancy throughout the entire thing. I like the modularity of that, and I think that's why Dark Souls does things so well, is that the gameplay is tight, and the modularity to approach the game is there. Dark Souls 2, haven't played it, but I know ADP is a stat which adjusts your iframe rolls, right? So which leads to game balancing things, and how do you balance things like Smelter Demon, things like Vendrick for like ADP? Does the game designers assume you should have 20 ADP by this boss, 40 ADP, 99 ADP, 0 ADP? How do you balance the game for that? That's why the stat didn't return. But I think that, like, being able to have that modular experience to allow players that freedom of choice to be able to tackle the game in the way that they see best fit, I think that is a huge win.
Variety of ammunition. You feel the need to carry every single weapon and overload yourself in the process. Recycling fixes this by converting items you don't use into items you do. Normally, games achieve this by letting you sell equipment, but then designers completely lose control of a player. How do you stop someone from shooting everything and encourage them to experiment if they've already sold all the fun toys for more shotgun ammunition? Well, there are 4 types of material, so items are limited by their total availability. You can't just print one thing. You have to make a conscious choice between different munitions. Okay, now that we've covered recycling, you have enough context to understand my favorite item in the entire game. Instead of a regular grenade, Prey has the recycler charge, which creates a spatial vortex that sucks everything in and recycles it.
Nice.
This includes every single physics object you see.
Oh.
This is the beginning of my descent, because the moment I get hold of a recycler charge schematic, I stack everything I find on a single floor. I take Materials Expert to get 20% more recycling yield, and implode everything so hard that I print 6 more of them. From here, I go insane and farm every single fab material and craft infinite neuromods until the schematic DRM kicks in, because the game needs a side quest to pause my power fantasy before I resume and craft every single neuromod and unlock every ability in the game and break everything forever.
I think that that's a really cool gate, though, to be able to do that, but then the game actually can power gate you until you progress to a certain point or even do an optional quest. I think that that's, I mean, relevant for story progression, I'm assuming, right? But it's also like, so that doesn't mean you just like become a super uber end game, like super early, right? I think I'm a fan of that. I think I'm a fan of gating that, which leads to interesting theories in how to pad the game. If you were to do this, how do you pad this most efficiently to get to the end goal, to get to the end result? I think it's fascinating to think about.
Love a good sandbox. Put me inside one, and I'll have those kids paying protection money before recess. I can glaze this game all day, but its biggest weakness is the enemies. All you get is Black Blob and Robot. I guess the budget had to go somewhere. Look, I understand the narrative importance of a 3-hour cutscene where Alex Yu jerks off and moans in the shower, but halfway into it, when the steam fogs everything up and it's just his ass print against the glass, I really caught myself thinking, could we have an extra alien, please? At least the predominant blob we do get is so interesting, it almost makes up for it. Our perceptions are geared towards ignoring background objects. Mimics abuse this by turning every physics object into a potential ambush. If you get too close or try to pick it up, it'll kill you. They're not as deadly as the rest, but they do give you a healthy dose of paranoia. Oh, why would there be 2 trash cans? Never mind, I think I'm actually retarded. They're fun to fight. They make every environment.
I would have thought one of them would be the mimic. No. Yeah. Wait.
An interactive clown show where I preemptively attack every piece of furniture. From the security footage, I'm just a man fighting my demons, and no one can tell who's winning. That is, until you get the psychoscope and upgrade it to scan mimics, removing your suspicion and replacing it with a compulsion to press Z every few seconds. This might sound annoying, but the trade-off is incredibly cathartic. Each time I execute a mimic, I get a muscle memory. It's like I've done this before, and I think I was good at it. The sad thing about mimics is that they're only capable of imitation, so there's no way of knowing if they're really a blob or if they're just conforming to expectations placed on them. Phantoms are humanoid shapes that repeat random phrases from their former host. Thankfully, this game was made before the conception of brain rot. Imagine the primordial fear of hearing the words "Livy Dunn, rizzed up baby Gronk" before being torn apart by your fellow crewmate.
Wow. See now that he said that, someone's gonna make a mod for this. Someone's absolutely gonna have that happen. Okay, we're gonna have the Gyat Rizzler mod, and it's just gonna be nothing but brain rot. Oh my god, no. Please, not like this.
Normal phantoms are very normal, in a sense that normally they'll kinetic blast your health bar within seconds. They also exhibit an anxious, preoccupied attachment style, because the moment they spot you, they tweak out and reappear in front of you. Etheric phantoms blip around at high speed so they can no-clip and smack you in the face. If you try to fight back, they split off into 2 copies and blip around faster each time you hit them. Luckily, the Q-beam doesn't cause damage. It only excites particles until they explode, at which point you should clear the area, because even in death, this thing will still try to kill you. Thermal phantoms walk up and cook you instantly. Forget immersion. They exist to gaslight you into thinking there's a strategy for their element. There isn't. Despite being a fire extinguisher, the glue gun is actually worse against thermals. Voltaics are the worst, because they do everything listed above and fry all of your electronics. The only answer to the phantom question is analog firepower.
Yeah,
Mimics reproduce to become weavers, which float around, turn crewmates into phantoms, and spit out cystoids when threatened. Not that you'd notice, since if you pop their shield, congratulations, you're having a seizure. Lore-wise, they're very important. In gameplay, they're just annoying. And in my case, they still terrify me. Once, I went outside the station to explore in zero gravity, drifted towards the shuttle, and Alt F4'd the game because my screen glitched and my character started screaming in the vacuum of space. This isn't a horror game, but getting jump scared without sound at 2 a.m. in the morning can make a grown man crinkle in his diapers. Telepaths mind break everyone around them into walking landmines. Knocking them out will break the telepath's influence and save a human life. But remember, every survivor is a lawsuit waiting to happen.
Yeah.
You need to kill or incapacitate their victims before attacking them. But even on their own, they can spam homing projectiles and block your abilities. However, this is the perfect time to explain why you're immune to their effects. The Psychoscope. Scanning different aliens with a Psychoscope lets you unlock their abilities. There's a huge variety,
What?
they're very fun, and none of them matter whatsoever, because the telepath has the best one in the game. Psychoshock is a 10-second nullification of psionic abilities, which works on anything and everything in the game. And unlike the null wave transmitter, it is virtually infinite. Does this diminish the experience? No, not at all, because technopaths exist. Choosing Typhon powers over being friendly with station security is no longer a dilemma, because technopaths will hack your operators and possess your turrets. In ancient Greece, Perelaus built the brazen bull for Phalaris, only to be cooked by his own torture device. I can't help but feel the same way, as I'm shredded to pieces by the same turret I repaired 5 minutes ago. Good luck killing them, because whoever designed an enemy weak to EMP forgot to consider that flying makes them very resilient to EMP. This, like many interactions, is never explained. For example, the Mimic ability. You buy the level 1, turn into a coffee cup, clap your hands, then never use it again. The description implies it's for stealth, but this is a trap written by the aliens to trick you into thinking that's all there is to it.
Okay.
Unexplained fact number 1. You can cast other abilities while mimicked. If someone thinks you're suspicious, obliterate their concern. Unexplained fact number 2. You don't take damage unless you're attacked. As we all know, fire has no effect on cardboard. Levels 2 and 3 let you mimic turrets and operators, but they suck, so why would you ever do that? Because of unexplained fact number 3. Your mimicked form has its own health bar. Once that's drained, it just kicks you back into human form. In other words, you
So it's like a substitute for Pokemon. You cut your HP, and well, without cutting your HP, right? You cut your HP to create a substitute with approximately 25% of whatever it was. That's actually super interesting. I'm liking how this is being explained so far. Like, we explained the premise of the game. We explain how we explain his journey to how he gets to his end goal, his build, and the challenges and benefits that it has. It's honestly super interesting to watch him build these. Like, it's very in your face. It's coming at you really fast, but I actually really love how he structures these. I think that it's interesting that there's certain interactions, such as I think I don't know if that's a game design ism. I don't know if that's a subjective thing. I don't know if that's an unintended consequence or bug where Mimic is for stealth, but it seems like they're still able to detect you. So I cite the trading card, right, is weak to lightning, but it's weak to grass. Like, its actual weakness is weak to grass. Does that necessarily make sense? Not really. So I think it's interesting that it says that it's used for stealth, but it seems, at least from this, that it's not necessarily for stealth purposes, or it's to give you a temporary health bar like a Pokemon substitute in order to buy yourself enough time to fire off an ability to delete something, right? I think it's super interesting to think about and like theorycraft.
do not take damage while mimicking. All of this would have been really nice to know, like 100 hours ago. The process of making a phantom isn't perfect, and sometimes they come out wrong. If you start hearing spooky music, or you're suddenly crushed against the ceiling, there's a poltergeist nearby. Where is he? Let's find out.
Amazing.
If you're bad at fighting something you can't see, then my condolences. There's a lot of ways to deal with them. You can throw around physics objects, cover them in glue, use the landmine setting on a recycler, or just bump into them. They're incredibly fun to fight, and there's only a couple across the whole game, so you're never expecting it. Your progress never goes unnoticed, and there's no greater flattery than an alien designed specifically to kill you. The
Amazing.
Nightmare forces you to spend the next 3 minutes of your life playing Alien Isolation. He's big, he's intimidating, and he's also too big for most corridors. My fright and suspense has become joy at the notification that I will be harvesting enough exotic material for 2 full neuromods in the next few seconds. There's also minor enemies here and there, like cystoids. These motion-activated mines are the bane of Adderall users, punishing both the hyperactive and inattentive. For anyone with a degree of self-restraint, they're pathetic, as they are the only enemy in the game to be countered by a foam dart. Later on, you'll also encounter hacked operators. These are initially annoying until you realize they're an infinite source of free materials. It's as if the developers didn't expect players to sit for hours spawn camping the fabricator. But I've already consumed every static object on the map. My recycler charge is crying out, and I need more fuel for the furnace. What is going on? Who's in charge here? As it turns out, you are. You are a you. Morgan you. You've got Alex you and you. Alex is the president, and you are the vice president.
Okay.
Normally, neuromods are tested on political volunteers. Like this guy.
My name's Aaron. Aaron Ingram.
However, they
Amazing.
had the foresight to know that creating an army of superpowered convicts would be a bad idea, so you've been testing them yourself. However, since neuromods are a modification of your physical brain structure, you can't just take one out and try again. You have to physically reset your brain back to when you first installed it, memories included. The simulation lab was designed to keep you in a perpetual loop of testing by having you relive the same day of your life over and over again, without
kinda
having
wild.
to catch you up to speed each time. This went on for many months, but now the aliens are loose. Everything's going to shit, and the vice president of the company is currently a 2-ply sheet of toilet paper. And through all this, your brother insists he can get the situation under control. I wonder who I should trust. My brother, who trapped me in his personal goon cave for a year? The voices in my head? Or the voices that used to be in my head? I think we should hear him out. I think we should destroy the station to stop the aliens for good. I think I saw a filing cabinet over there. Add it to the pile. The first half of the game plays out the same as System Shock. If you replace Showdown with a concerned family member who's genuinely trying to stop you from hurting yourself after your needle-induced brain damage, you try to go somewhere, Alex stops you, you find a workaround, and repeat. Along the way, the game demonstrates a profound respect for your intelligence. Nobody calls to give you puzzle hints every 5 seconds, or to chastise you for your decisions. And yet,
I kind of like that though. As somebody who's tired of like hand holding, I've talked earlier. Like, I mean, I actually kind of like that. Like, just certified figure it out status. I feel like a lot of games are too scared to let that happen anymore because you could just lose interest. I don't know. It's been very interesting trying to look at modern game design and game design philosophy and compare that to things I had, growing up, say 20 years ago, right? It's night and day.
there's still this feeling I can't shake. Like I'm being tested. Watched. We're losing him. The circumcision scar. It's opening
No.
back up.
You're awake.
Hey, you. Finally awake.
Between the trolley problem, feeding convicts to aliens to make neuromods, and whether you consider these people as survivors or corporate liabilities, there's a clear theme of utilitarianism throughout the story. Is it moral to feed people into a blender if the resultant smoothie would improve the lives of countless others? With that in mind, you'd expect the game to present a series of hollow, cliche choices to trick you into feeling emotional investment. Oh no, my Congolese cobalt minds are failing. A base American cannot watch TikTok on Chinese vaporware phone. But if I send in more children, I will not have enough militants for my child army. What do we do? In the cafeteria, you'll find a telepath controlling an
That bit went way harder than it should have. Oh my god, Seth, please.
army of brain slaves, and one guy hiding from them in a kitchen. Will Mitchell. And I don't know about you, but something seems off about this guy. Maybe it's his orcish demeanor, or the way he clearly makes up a fetch quest for you on the spot, or the way he looks in his transcribe icon, or the way he doesn't recognize you, despite having a picture of you in his room, and you being on first name basis with half of a ship, or the explosive stockpile behind him, or how you can hear him break something just to give you another fetch quest to do, or the fact that he's immune to mind control, and the only other documented case of this is a test subject who stockpiled explosives and escaped, or the fact that Will Mitchell reads as dead on the tracking bracelet system, or the color of his suit being red, despite suits being color-coded with red meaning executive, or the way his suit is near identical to Alex's. Or the way Will Mitchell's tracking bracelet is inside the freezer, or the way he suspiciously urges you to go into the freezer, or the way he locks you inside, or maybe it's the human meat and butchered remains of Will Mitchell in the freezer. But I don't know. Maybe it's just prejudice. Thank
probably.
you, Will Mitchell, for giving me this opportunity to grow as a man. I'll put your best features to good use. In a lesser game, you would either be railroaded into getting trapped or be given a choice in a system that normally doesn't. You'd be so conditioned by essential NPCs that the only way you'd even consider an alternative is if a quest told you you had options to begin with. When Alex
Right.
locks down the ship, you eject yourself into space and float over to the cargo bay. Unfortunately, there's a hull breach. Until you dock a storage container, the doors won't open. You're supposed to read the serial number, enter it on the computer, and watch it go. However, Dr. Deo Igwe is trapped inside a container. There is no dilemma. You need to dock a container to proceed, and docking Igwe's will save him. It's not a question of who you save, him or you, Fat Man or railroad tracks. It's a question of whether you possess the basic human empathy to expend an iota of conscious effort to save someone. Frankly, I'm offended. How far games have fallen that you don't even have the confidence in me to do the smallest possible act of altruism. I should... Oh hey, what's in here?
He just
Wait! What are you doing? Stop!
Stop, damn you, stop!
Oh my god, yes.
There's a group of survivors.
I love it. I love that they allow you to approach it whatever way you deem best. That is an instant W for me. Dark, don't get me wrong. That's really funny. Oh my god. Like that is this is why I love games. This is the kind of game that really speaks to people.
Hold inside. They've locked a bunch of aliens in a room you need to go through and won't open it unless you bring them enough turrets. Based on your build, you have a few different ways to achieve this. Remember to steal everything that isn't bolted down.
Right.
They won't need it.
Is TranStar mounting a rescue operation?
A little loud.
So far, we've been talking about basic high school level utilitarian ethics, but obviously, that's not the whole story. If a pregnant woman boards a crowded train, you can't just say, I expended 1,500 calories of effort today chasing women around the park. I deserve to remain seated. You'd look like an asshole. Morality isn't necessarily a universal truth, nor a contract between you and those you affect, but rather between you and society, between you and how you're perceived. If we view it from that lens, the reason you give your seat to the pregnant woman is to be perceived as a moral individual by the other passengers on the train.
Sure, yeah,
However,
makes sense.
this isn't a train, it's a trolley, and I've already pulled the lever.
Amazing.
Main quest dilemmas aside, there's a few side objectives that require going out of your way to help someone else. For example, your old girlfriend is dying of paraplexis, which is a completely made-up condition, and she actually just swallowed a peanut. She told me to leave her behind, to focus on saving everyone else, and I followed her orders. As Einstein famously said, "When a black queen speaks, I listen." Then I came back and found out there's no timer because she's completely fine. So I ventured out into the cold void of space, retrieved her EpiPen, and brought it back. Within a narrow time window of whenever I felt like it. The aliens may have killed half a station, but the real winner of today is humanity.
I can breathe again. And feel my legs.
He's gonna throw the ball. He's gonna throw the funny ball. He's
Still
gonna throw the
some
grenade.
spots in the eye. But those should clear up.
Oh, that was telegraphed harder than Gwyn, Lord of Sunlight's strike. Oh, that was fantastic.
Alex has been gaslighting, gatekeeping, and girl-bossing me since day one. He bullies me with his bulbous form and childbearing hips. My
Bulbous.
pattern-seeking brain is screaming for him to be the villain. He even does the whole "I'm not a bad guy" shtick. However, he's not lying. He is on your side. It's just that your brain's been so thoroughly scrambled that nobody knows who you are anymore. You had your memory wiped over and over and over again, and every time you did, you came out slightly different. I feel great. I should kill myself. Why do I have an AO free account? And why do all my bookmarks lead to the same slash fiction where Dumbledore impregnates Dobby? This raises an interesting question. You may have started each loop the same, but the brain is not a static organ. We're shaped by our experience, and after a memory wipe, your life is always different, leading you to develop subtly different personalities each time.
Okay,
So,
makes sense.
are these the same person, or are they different people? If you make a decision and then erase all the memories leading up to that decision, was it still you that made it? Can you be held responsible for it? Be sure to let me know. I'm theory crafting a new DUI defense. If I don't remember it, neither should the judge. Ultimately, this useless hypothetical is up to you, as is the larger
I love this hypothetical. I love how we just get super existential in the back half of this video. Oh, this is great. This is the existentialism I crave.
question of what you're gonna do about this whole mess.
Oh, crash.
Do you work with Alex to study the aliens and develop a way to neutralize them? Or do you trigger the station's self-destruct to stop any possibility of them reaching Earth? Personally, I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
We failed. This isn't the one.
Boo.
If you got that ending, you may have spoiled yourself on the big twist. You aren't Morgan. Morgan's dead, as is the rest of the world. You are an alien that's been neuromodded to feel empathy, but they have no idea if that even works. So the entire game has been a simulation of Morgan's memories, designed to see how you'd behave in their shoes. Now, I know this sounds like a cliche, but trust me, it isn't. It was all just a dream. Sucks because it strips a story of any meaning. You are all but told, alright, show's over, now stop thinking about it. And you do. For a twist like this to be good, it needs to add added more meaning than it removed by revealing that everything was fake. And it does. You're not being evaluated for how good of a person you are. You're being evaluated to see if you are a person. If the implanted mirror neurons have bestowed even a shred of humanity upon you. Did you help people because it was the right thing to do? Or because it would help your own survival? It's a much better lens for analyzing player actions than the standard good boy points. Recycling every...
I'm tired of your disingenuous assertions, Punch. Bro. Oh god, I'm well overdue for my playthrough of Mass Effect.
Single person you see might not be good, but nobody knows what these things are capable of. For all we know, summary execution could very well be the appropriate containment method, so they're not interested in what you did, so much as why you did it, which can be gleaned from the aggregate of your decisions. If you only help people because they'd be worth more alive than dead, then you wouldn't have bothered to do their personal missions. So, naturally, the best thing to do is to take every moral action, prove at every junction that you know what it means to be human, and then kill everyone anyway. Thank you for this new, indomitable human spirit. I'll put it to good use. In my headcanon, which is objectively true, the experiment succeeds. Hear me out. The Typhon Mimic is effectively Ditto from Pokemon, and with implanted mirror neurons, they have a potential to become our greatest companion. I see a bright future where a fully empathetic Typhon lifeform could pattern, copy, and transform into Fuda Elizabeth from BioShock Infinite. And that is a future worth fighting for.
Oh, I'm like, oh, this is gonna take a turn. Oh no. No, not the fanfic writers, please.
Prey is a great game that runs into issues typical of its genre. Puzzle solving with the resources available to you is fun, until I open the Pandora's box of infinite abilities. You don't need to be creative when you have the optimal solution to every problem. Why do I bring this up? Because the DLC fixes everything. Moon Crash is a semi-roguelike where you play as different characters in their attempts to escape the Pythias moonbase during a containment breach. However, none of them survived. You are actually a hacker, simulating their memories to steal corporate secrets. Why is it called Moon Crash? Because the title spoils the ending. You crash on the moon. Just awful titles all around. With each run, your goal is the same. Get the hell out. Once you do, it's time for the next character to escape. Except, the world is persistent across runs. The first time I played this, I didn't know that. Looted every single piece of equipment, and died on the second run from lack of resources. After each character has a run, the simulation resets, and you do it again. Each reset randomizes map features such as loot, escape methods, and the location of key items. The longer you spend inside the simulation, the higher the corruption level, which
So I actually see why people think so fondly of this game now. Like, this is something I would definitely be down to play at some point. Like, this is fantastic. This makes me also really sad. I don't know if we ever got a follow-up. I see why people clamored for a follow-up. That is absolutely mind-boggling to me that, like, something like this wasn't rewarded. But I guess considering the AAA, quadruple A landscape of modern gaming, not really so hard to see why.
Increases the amount and difficulty of threats you'll encounter. Because of this, you need to strategize the order of escape. The engineer can repair the station in preparation for the rest, while the security guard can mop up extra enemies later in the loop. Completing objectives will reward you with points. These can be spent on equipment for later runs, according to the fabrication blueprints you unlocked in previous runs. Every character has their own upgrade tree, forcing you to tackle problems with a limited set of abilities. If you can ignore the fact that moonsharks are 100 decibels louder than anything else in the game and designed purely to blow out your eardrums, I think you'll enjoy the extra content. In summary, Prey is probably the best game Arcane ever made. I can't recommend it enough, because games like this are rare and unprofitable, versus the mountain of slop that executives produce for greater margins. An industry always caters to its consumer. It's just in this case I find myself increasingly agreeing with Talmudic rabbinical teachings. The consumer truly is domesticated cattle. If you're interested, enter code ABYSSALEXU to get 90% off on GOG for the next week. It's about $3, it's DRM free, it's literally cheaper than piracy. As always, more content to come, so stay tuned. A warm thanks to the many members of a Merchants Guild, generously funding and bankrolling these videos. You're all truly wonderful. Have a good one.
Alright. He's,
I promised you my arming cape. All I ask is you hear me out first. And you can blow Talos 1 to pieces if that's what you think is best. I don't think you'll do it. I know. Because I used to think we couldn't be trusted to play with fire without burning the house down. But you convinced me. You showed me anything was possible, even if the price was steep. That part of you.
All right, he's convinced me. I will go on GOG after this, either tonight or tomorrow, and I will be buying this, especially if it's on GOG DRM free. I'll be trying to buy some stuff on GOG because sometimes, I don't know. I don't. I like owning games. I like actually owning games. So thank you, Seth. I will definitely be using this. This was awesome. I absolutely love this. I have so much in my backlog, or else I would definitely be streaming this. I have a lot that I have to get to, but this was fantastic. I absolutely love this. Thank you for an amazing video. Thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.